Got the notification? Hell yeah. That's what I like to hear. What's up, y'all? Y'all's is... You were first, Esteban? That's what I like to hear. That's what I also like to hear. I just like to hear everything. I'm so good at hearing. The man, the myth, the legend. In your presence. Blessing you today. Hey, thanks, Taylor. How am I? I am awesome. I'm perfect. I'm classic. It's a classic day. How are you guys doing? What's new? What's happening out there in Tinseltown? Just got back from vacation, drove so much I need another vacation. Oh yeah, driving on vacation's rough. If I ever do go on vacations and have to like fly, minimizing the amount of like stops and stuff is like absolutely key. By the way, the bonus content is so good. Yeah, for anybody who's got a green name or wants to become a member over here on Patreon, there's new bonus content up that we recorded on Sunday. So, be sure to check that out. It's on the bonus content playlist. I think we're up to 26 videos now. LJ, good to see you. Christmas. Yeah, we're almost at Christmas. Probably December 1st. What's the next? Yeah, probably this weekend. We'll switch up to the... This weekend we'll probably switch up to the Christmas background. Kick off the festivities. Hey, Galactic Bitch, thank you for the one gifter to Alexander2410FCB. Thank you. Alexander, you now have access to bonus content. Yes, 27 days till Christmas. Have you done your shopping? Have you purchased your goods that you will then hand to somebody else? I hope so. I'm so used to your voice at this point, it's just comforting. I always have the Let's Read podcast on the background. I'm doing housework. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a new episode out of the Let's Read podcast over on podcast out today. Be sure to check that out. Have you ever had someone random in real life recognize you by your voice? I have not, no. I think I should be thankful for that, but I think it also would be nice to like actually meet people. What's up, Iris? You made it. I'm glad. 5 days till your holiday. Where are you gonna go, Judith? I want to hear some more. Wait, I want to hear some more of your personal stories and some more scuba diving stories. Yeah, those deep sea ones were sick. They were all from 4chan, but they were dope. And Audrey with the Tusas gives fat, wet kiss. Missed you. I'm back, baby. Back in black. Me and Pradeep. Your girlfriend says you sound like me. Nice, dude. Time for you to start your own YouTube. Still getting him up per deep running across the ceiling. He's a noisemaker. Help you start. How did you start? Well, you got to get a microphone, and you got to learn how to use an editing software. You probably need to learn how to use Photoshop to make thumbnails, so you can use like AI to help you a little bit there. And you got to get permission from like the writers of stories to record stories, if that's what you want to do. But obviously you could write scripts too and like make actually edited things. How'd you get stories? Well, initially the best way is to like ask people on Reddit, but it can be difficult, honestly, to find your footing. I was a nurse before. Yeah, true. But yeah, it might be wise to kind of establish your career. There's this other YouTuber named Growling Sidewinder, and I swear you two sound almost identical. I feel like I've never heard you both at the same time, but I'm pretty sure they're close. Growling Sidewinder, let me find him. I'll play him on the stream. We can do a live reaction. Oh, he makes like military videos.
Today's, modern S300, S400s. Got something on radar here, but it kind of faded out. I don't know what it was.
Wait, what game is he playing?
He might be around here somewhere. But yeah, similar to the A10, for example, which is no longer...
I couldn't really hear it, or not that I couldn't hear it, but I couldn't really hear the similarity. But maybe the talking, like my conventional talking voice, doesn't sound like me. Yeah. I mean, I could see maybe my normal talking voice kind of like has that nasally vibe to it. But whenever I get into spooky mode, definitely different there for sure. But I like that. What game was he playing? That looked kind of sick as fuck, with the planes and shit. Do a collab with Mr. Black Pasta. I have actually collabed with him. I remember I promoted his second channel not even that long ago, actually, probably less than a year ago. Oh shit. Did you guys eat anything good recently? Do anything fun? How about Chills? Yeah, I reached out to him. Well, it was actually related to music. He says he doesn't really do collabs anymore, which is kind of understandable. I was about to sleep. It's 4 a.m. now. I feel like I'm missing out on your stream. Damn you all. I'm sorry, Cat. Hopefully you can fall asleep to it. I can almost 100% guarantee you there's not a single thing that I'm going to say in the stream that's going to be missed if you miss it. And Rachel Renicky, welcome back for 8 months in the Butter Sock Cult. You now have access, or you still have access. Sorry, go through the rigmarole there. To bonus content. Do you have an ASMR channel? If you do, can you tell me what it's called? It's called Let's Read ASMR, and I do have one. It's like there's like 4 videos on it, and if you find one you like, then maybe it will be useful to you. I'll be honest, there is this one guy I watch ASMR channel, French Whisperer ASMR, and I'll watch his like Nordic mythology video just like on repeat for bedtime. I don't know, there's something about it that just like is perfect and it just knocks me out. How long did it take me to get this many subscribers? It took me 9 years. But hey, some people, they're a little quicker with it. You like the underwater screen? Yeah, Robin made it. He's really good. fun. Stacking 5 cords of firewood. Woohoo! That sounds kind of fun. Staying in shape, burning things. Do some nature stories or lighthearted stories. I love your voice, but need bedtime stuff. Yeah, like bad things that happen in nature and bad things that happen to lighthearted people. You're in shorts and a jacket. That's like the go-to move. Just keep your heart warm. Nutella and honey. Welcome, welcome. I've been putting a lot of honey on my morning berries, and it's like honestly so fucking good. You're practicing for a play. Okay. Dude, that stuff's tough. Putting all that, memorizing the lines is probably the hardest part. But then also like putting the emotion into everything. I feel like it's got to be crazy trying to remember all that kind of stuff. Samar says, welcome back for 16 months, says I love it here. The live streams are so comforting at the end of the long day. Thank you, Samara. Appreciate you. Thank you for 16 months. And Judith, thank you as well. Welcome back for 41 months. In the middle of moving over to my hubby. Nice and stressful just before a holiday, but can't wait until I'm back in the Australian sunshine. I respect it. It's summertime back there. Gotta enjoy it while you can. Even though I guess it's like 15 degrees probably right now. Honey is good for me. Yeah, what does honey do? What does honey do? AC broke down at work. You live in Arizona. Oh, is it still hot in Arizona? I didn't know if it starts to like chill out around this time of the year, if it's just always. I would like to visit there at some point. Audio theater for the mind is like super dope if you ever get a chance to watch the We Are Alive podcast. Never heard of it. What's that? You ever cut trees with a chainsaw? If you haven't, you should. It's a hoot. I never have. Or I think I may have, but it was definitely one of those experiences where like everybody handing me the chainsaw was like, all right, make sure it doesn't fucking fly and hit your knee or some shit, because that would suck. Show you my toes, don't you worry. They are out there in the ether somewhere. There's this place where people climb to get honey and it get them high. Really, the honey does. Wonder why. Bacteria can't grow in honey, so it's great for the old throat. Oh. Yeah, maybe I should throw some of that into my tea before the stream. Do I speak any other languages? I do not, no. I took, you take some like learning stuff, but you just like forget it so quickly. I don't even know why. In high school, I also took like German. But I mean, it would be interesting to visit Germany one day for sure. But I feel like Spanish would have been so much more useful. It's like different voice actors playing characters. It's kind of like apocalyptic thing, Walking Dead types thing, but it's a decent. Oh, that sounds sick. I stopped a break into my house for a home alone. Holy shit, that's scary. On a Tuesday, club going up, and they choose a Mad Honey. Check it out, Himalayan honey. I assume they don't sell it, right? Wonder what psychoactive ingredient is in it and like what it specifically does to people. LM with the 5 says, I used to live in Waynesboro, PA, worked at Raven Rock Mountain Complex. You should do creepy government stories one day. That would be good. I mean, I've definitely done a lot of like true crime related stuff or, related to governments, but you kind of have to catch it. Like that brainwashed video. It's kind of from not too long ago, maybe a month or two ago. You should check that one out. Do I like Ezra Miller? No, not really. He seems to be not very good at being nice to people and all that kind of stuff, so. But I guess if I really have to sit there and think about it, I don't really give a shit, you know what I mean? I don't really wake up and like start my day by thinking about Ezra Miller or liking or disliking the human being, you know. You just kind of hear stuff about people and you're like, oh, that's not so good. You know? Like sometimes people get really, really upset about celebrities and e-celebrities and shit like that. And it's like, it just seems like such a fucking waste of energy. Even like giving someone a moment of your soul for no reason. Do you have an editor or do you edit your own videos? I edit my own videos, but Robin, my editor, helps me with thumbnails and he edits my like ads and various other stuff. And then I have a guy that helps me remaster the audio for the podcast. Should make a video on him. I'm sure we'll include something, do some sort of true crime thing related to celebrities that be wilding out. I do find it really funny though that like even whenever he was at like his peak cancellation, the fact that their studio was in the process of making The Flash, they didn't drop him just because they're just like, fuck, we have like legal obligation to finish this thing. So I don't care if he lights this whole set on fire. Let's get this movie done. This is Fry. Yeah, Fry edits my OnlyFans page. I send him hours and hours of raw twerk footage. And feet pics. Chill, what's up? Thoughts on Kanye? I love Kanye's music, you know. I think that's the you know, I'm pretty capable of like differentiating like between, you know, what an artist says versus the art that they produce, you know what I mean? I know some people might be like, well, if I don't like them, I stop listening, but I fucking love, you know, a ton of his albums, and you know, it is what it is. You just listened to me 2 hours earlier. Well, welcome back, JR. Also, Chill, how you doing, my friend? I was so pissed when they dropped that one guy from The Flash because he got internet canceled. Wait, who'd they drop? They dropped somebody but didn't drop Ezra? That's kind of like insanity to me. Can I use chopsticks? Yes, sir. I'm pretty good about them, honestly. I'm a huge weeb. Doing good. That's good. I'm doing good too. Just cruising, honestly. Love your content. Find it better than any other horror narration channel. Thank you. Yeah, I do be trying my best. Nala, thank you. Time to read? Let's do it. Also, if you like this music here, it's called 2% by Nowcast. One word, Nowcast, from 2009. It was kind of like music similar to like Boards of Canada. Do getting confessions scare me? Yeah, they do a little bit. Harley something maybe. Word. But thanks for being here, guys. All 300 of you, appreciate you. Click that like button, click share. Had a good chest day at the gym today. I hit 270 for one. That was cool. And it wasn't too bad, honestly. Hey Joel, do you add more stories to your podcast on Spotify? Yeah, every Tuesday. It's basically a compilation of like 3 videos in one. from like a week, but it's usually from like a year ago, but remastered. You're getting your adult braces off in 1 month. Nice, congratulations. You're gonna have some pearly whites. Okay. Anyways, we got some night drive stories, or driving at night stories tonight. You guys remember that theme? We got many more. Makes it easy. It's just shit that happened in my car whilst driving at night. You got a sprained ankle, swollen finger, got hit in the face with a hockey stick, and I was hit in the side of the head with a hockey stick. That sounds like you play soccer? Or maybe hockey. But that sounds about right, huh? 'Tis the life of a sports person. Non-stop getting bashed up. Alright, let's do it. Back when I was 18 years old, for about 6 months, my boss drove me to work. I know that may sound a little weird, but I didn't get a license yet, and he knew my mom. It also helped that he lived about 2 minutes from my house. It was just a weird situation, and no matter how I try to preface it, I just know that it sounds weird. Most mornings, the drive to work was uneventful. We'd usually get to work at around 6:30 a.m., and neither one of us would talk in the car. He was usually hungover, and I just wasn't the talkative type. I'm a quiet person by nature, but I was even quieter back then. One day, we had to go to work at 3 in the morning for inventory. My boss decided it would be good to show me, so I got up extra early for that 3 a.m. shift. On the way into work that morning, my boss said that he wanted to grab some coffee at the gas station since it was the only place that was open. When we parked, as he was getting out of the car, he told me that he was going to hit the restroom as well. I just nodded. Can you do space horror stories? You know, believe it or not, last week I actually did space horror stories. But they were all like, you know, stories with kind of like the Soviet Union, the Challenger stuff, you know what I mean? Like true crime, like true historical stuff. Hey, Oxy, what's up, dog? Doggy doodah. How often do I go live? I go live every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday evening. Oh, Space Horse stories. I haven't done those yet. Space Horse, course to course. I just nodded and decided to wait in the car. I was exhausted from staying up way too late playing video games, and I was planning on just resting my eyes until we got to work. I'm assuming a few minutes had passed. I don't know exactly how long it was because I was falling asleep while I was waiting for my boss. With no notice, the back seat door opened, and it startled me in my half-asleep state. I just thought it was my boss, and then I felt movement behind me. I finally looked behind me, and just sitting there in the back seat was a woman. She didn't appear to be homeless or look like she was on anything. She just looked strange. And we made eye contact for a few seconds, and then I whipped back around trying to process what was happening. I'm a really quiet person, and I was even more quiet back then, like I said, and I didn't know what to say or what to do. I was just hoping my boss was going to come back out soon. I started to finally work up the courage to ask what was going on, and I was immediately freaked out when I turned around. She was sitting there, now smiling, but looking forward. I don't really know how to describe her eyes. They were cold and dark and seemed almost lifeless, even though she was kind of pretty. Even as I write this, I still can't get the image of her out of my mind. It had probably been about 30 seconds since all this started, and I finally uttered my words when I asked her, "Hey, is everything okay? You know this isn't your car, right?" Instead of answering with words, she just started to scream, erratically. It was so erratic that it was shaking the entire car, it felt like, or maybe just my head. I jumped back just out of panic, confusion, and shock, and I saw my boss walking out of the gas station. I just dove out of the passenger side door and shut it behind me. My boss was confused and asked me what the heck was going on, and I just pointed to the woman in the back seat of his car. We both just stood there, almost in amazement and disbelief. She was still screaming, shaking and rocking back and forth. We could physically see the car shaking from her wild movements from inside the car. My boss approached the back seat where she was sitting, and as he grabbed the door handle, she put both her hands on the window, and I kid you not, started to hiss and growl at my boss. He said, "Nope," and walked back towards me. I was standing probably 10 feet away at this point. He immediately called the police, and we were hoping that they would arrive soon since it was a small town. The entire time that we were waiting for the cops, we could hear the woman screaming and the car still shaking. After a minute or two of waiting for the police, we went inside and watched her from inside the gas station. There was just something unsettling about the entire situation. She wasn't trying to rob us. She only looked like she wanted to cause harm when we got near the car. I mean, she was sitting in the back seat, so she wasn't even trying to steal the car. It was just all so weird. The cops showed up maybe 5 minutes after the call. We went outside to greet the officer and fill him in on the situation, and he looked confused, and I'm not gonna lie, he almost looked kind of amused by the whole situation. The officer tried to get the woman to come out calmly, but after a minute of her screaming and growling, he basically went into the car and apprehended her. And this is where this bad dream truly turned into a nightmare. Upon arrest, the officer had to remove 4 knives from her person. Yeah, you heard that right. This woman had 4 sharp objects on her. Thankfully, she never showed us the knives or even hinted at the fact that she had them. But even more disturbing, perhaps, is the fact that she didn't have an ID on her and she wasn't talking, so the officer had no idea who she was. This complete stranger came out of nowhere. She got into my boss's car without saying a word. She went from smiling to off-the-wall insane. And then, to cap things off, she had no idea. Hello from work. Hello, hello. Don't let them catch ya. Do more haunted dumbwaiter stories. Oh yeah. We're just going to get more and more hyper-specific as the years go on. I was about to say crawl space till I realized that that was an actual topic that is often used. I'm your hero? Hell yeah, dude. I will save you all. Do more Hot Pocket stories. I burnt the shit out of the roof of my mouth. I was gushing blood. He posted the actor who got let go from The Flash, not nearly close to reasonable. I can post again if it's too buried in the chat. Let me scroll up. Can I do more moving new house stories? I can definitely look into it for sure. Sorry, I can't see the post for some reason. I have it on top chat. I gotta switch it to live chat. That way, because sometimes if people post things twice on the top chat, it might not show it. Then, to cap things off, she had no ID and 4 deadly weapons on her. I've had some wild things happen to me over the years, but I'd have to say that this was probably the strangest and most terrifying that's ever happened to me. It's been years, and I remember this moment like it was yesterday. I'll never forget that woman's face, and I honestly wonder what she's up to now. He's gonna hit her up. Booty call. Jim Gaffigan stole my Hot Pockets. It is kind of funny as like his comedy kind of just peaked at Hot Pocketing. Hot Pocket. Currently in bed under the influence of mind-altering inhibitors. Inhibitors? What kind? Give me some. Hand them over, kid. Scary tree. Oh, treehouse stories actually would be interesting if... I don't know. When I was around 9 years old, I was watching my mom and older sister hauling a dresser upstairs to my mom's room and was watching them, and they lost control and it hit my head. I went to the ER. Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry. Sounds like you're just getting beat up all the time. You call crackheads Hot Pockets at work as a code name. That's funny. Do China horror stories. I feel like that video would get shit on. I did like prisons, and I talked about the Uyghurs, who are put into like concentration camps over in China. And that video kind of got shit on. But it was also a different topic too, so maybe it just didn't do very well. Honestly, anytime I deviate too far, videos don't tend to do that well. Your brother Jose's first basketball game. Can you wish him luck? Good luck, Jose. Slam dunk it. As he runs up to score his first basket, you should throw a trampoline in front of him so he can bounce on it and go above the rim. And then dive down through the hoop. That should still count as a point. I can retype it, Joel, so you don't have to find it. Yeah, go ahead, no worries. I guess I can look it up. Well, actually, it might be easier if you just tell me. Boing. Okay. Last year was the first time I truly encountered what? Last year was the first time I truly encountered an evil person. I didn't really think people like this existed. And this is going to sound very ignorant, but I was of the mindset that if something bad happened to you, then you probably were in a situation where you shouldn't have been, obviously not including accidents. Well, I totally changed my stance on that opinion after last year. Horrible people out there do exist, so if you take anything from this story that I'm about to tell, just remember to always be careful and alert, especially around people you don't know. I was house and pet sitting for a very close friend of mine. She and her husband were taking a weekend getaway for their anniversary. They lived in a mostly secluded area. There wasn't much going on, and that's kind of what I liked about it. This was like a weekend getaway for me mostly. Oops. Fuck, my nose is... I don't even know. It's my favorite topic. Probably the ghost things. I'm looking into some skinwalker stories for next month's paranormal video. I don't even know why my nose is snotty. Oh yeah, skinwalkers should be sweet. Okay. This was like a weekend getaway for me, honestly. I did some errands during the day and I turned in early for the night. I made some chili and planned on just watching some movies with the dog all night. A little after 8 p.m., the doorbell rang, and it actually scared me. Even the dog looked pretty spooked. I could tell this place doesn't get very many visitors, especially after 8 at night. I slowly answered the door. I kept the front screen door locked and just opened the main door. The dog finally started barking and going crazy. I was surprised at what I was looking at. You see, it was a young man, probably in his 20s. He had shaggy hair but was pretty clean-shaven. He was rocking 2 diamond earring studs and was wearing gray sweatpants and a gray t-shirt. I stuttered my way through asking the question, "Can I help you?" The young guy looked scared and almost sad and asked if I had any heavy straps. I was confused by the question, and I think the guy could tell. He went on to explain that his car had gone off the road and was now stuck in the mud. He wanted the straps to help pull his car out. I just politely told the kid that I didn't have any straps and I closed the door. Part of me felt bad for him, but I know myself and I know that I wouldn't have been much help, not to mention I didn't have heavy straps and I doubt that they had any in this house. After finishing watching an episode of The Office, I was getting ready to go to bed. It wasn't that late, but in my older age, 11 may as well have been 3 in the morning. Oh. I didn't really understand what they were saying there for a second. Yeah, my talent oozing out of my nose. Yeah, it's like I'm not necessarily sick, but I just throughout the day I just keep getting random sneezes. It's really weird. Do more dark web stuff. You'd be all over that. The older videos on those are what got me hooked on your channel. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that because all those dark web stories are kind of they're all true crime related. So I'm definitely gonna have to do some looking into, seeing if there's any more. Oh, it's my favorite songs. Watch my 9mm go bang. Do Mexican Nagul. What is that? Is that a cryptid? Oh man, what the fuck? Sorry. It wasn't that late, but in my older age, 11 may as well have been 3 in the morning. Just as I was shutting off the lights, the doorbell rang again. This time the dog started to bark right away. She must have known something wasn't right. Before approaching the door, I looked at the time on the stove, and it was 11:13 at night. I looked through the small window next to the door, and it was the same young guy as before. Now I was frustrated and angry, and I was about to tell the guy to get off the property when he says, "Please, sir, I'm so sorry to bother you again. Nobody else in the neighborhood answered the door, and my phone's dead. I almost got the car, and I just need a little push. Can you please come and help me? I'll give you $20. I was beyond annoyed, but I could hear the anxiety in his voice. I must have been really tired because I agreed to help the kid. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't know. At the moment, it seemed like the right thing to do. The guy was excited and started to thank me, and we started making our way down the dark and not very populated street. I could see about 100 yards down the road. A small car was off to the side of the road. The guy pointed ahead and said the car is just up there. While I was walking, it dawned on me that I could have and should have just called the police to help. And then I noticed that I didn't even have my phone in my pocket to call the police in case we couldn't get the car out of the ditch. As we were closing in on the car, I looked down, and even in the darkness, I could see that the ground wasn't very muddy. I started having thoughts to myself like, how is the car stuck in the mud with no mud? And once I was standing next to the car, I looked at the tires and noticed that the car didn't look stuck at all. Before I could even ask any questions, a large man who was significantly older than the guy at the door jumped out from behind the car, grabbing me, tackling me to the ground. He started to slap my face, and then he demanded that I hand over my phone and wallet. But I guess the joke was on him looking back because, like I just said, the phone was still in the house and so was my wallet. I was able to shout that little bit of information to the man who looked angry that he couldn't now rob me. He then ripped off my smartwatch, which again, the joke was on him because it was just some cheap $30 knockoff that just looked like an Apple Watch. After taking the watch, they got into the car and just drove off into the night. I ran back to the house, calling the cops. I did the best I could to describe the car and the man who actually attacked me, but I didn't really get a good look at either, especially since it was so dark out. I was able to give a decent description of the younger guy, but I don't know much. The air is suddenly dry. Try a humidifier. I'm getting the same thing in Michigan. Yeah, that's true too. Fuck. Try By slap robbery, yeah. Wouldn't they like grab him and force him to like the house or some shit? I don't even know. Do you get the full super chats or does YouTube take some? Yeah, YouTube takes a cut of it. There's also what the hell is it called? There's another option. It should be in the description. I wonder if you can access it. But it's like Streamlabs has an option for donating. It should be linked in the thing, if that's what you want to do. Obviously, no pressure. Hey, Gabby, how you doing? Slap my face. Do I listen to any podcasts? I listen to like Tim Dillon a decent amount, you know what I mean? I think every time his episodes come on, I'll throw those on because they're funny. They're foony. I was able to give a decent description of the younger guy, but I don't know how much it helped. As far as I know, they never caught them. And if they did, it wasn't because of me. I told my friend and her husband, and they said that they never experienced anything like that before or since. Like I said in the beginning, this really changed me. I know firsthand now that terrible people really are out there, and they truly do want to hurt you. So just be careful, and don't just trust people because they look innocent. Oh, Streamlabs won't allow you to donate a certain... That's weird. Wonder why that would be. Let me check the links on the... Isn't there something in the description, or can I even edit the description? Oh, there it is. Here, I'll just copy and put it in the chat. Maybe Fry's still here, who Mod's still here, they can save it and just reference people to it if they so desire. No worries either way. I'm just glad you guys are here. Yeah, don't look so innocent, and then then the trust will flow through. Alright, there are 7 stories tonight, by the way. Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na. What's up, Devin? Welcome to the party. 17 stories. Oh, I'm gonna go crazy. It's so crazy though, like I was having like really bad bicep tendonitis, I think, where I was having like pain in my shoulder going down to like my bicep and elbow. And then I was able to get some like myofascial release work done. And it's like kind of insane how much it helped to be able to like do stuff, because it was nuts. I was like trying to do bicep curls and I like just felt like I couldn't really activate my like left bicep, and like same with like doing pull-ups. It just like wouldn't fucking, it just wouldn't work. Story room, we're at number 3 here. When I was in college, I attended film school, and let me tell you, I loved it. What a great experience. I met so many awesome people and learned so much, and I always loved it when we had a chance to create a short film, a chance to be able to tell stories with your unique vision. For me, I had a really hard time brainstorming and coming up with ideas while I was physically at the... For me, I had a really hard time brainstorming and coming up with ideas while I was physically at the school. I couldn't concentrate in the dorms, and the library and places like that just didn't give the creative vibe. So, I started going on these long night drives whenever I needed to brainstorm. I'd throw on some tunes and just drive around letting my mind go to all sorts of wild places. On one of these night drives, I started to see flashing lights in my rearview mirror. When I looked back, the lights were getting closer and it was clear that I was getting pulled over for something. I started to twerk. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh shit. That's way up there. What the hell? I'm sorry about that. Galactic Biatch with the big 30 twerkable buckaroonies. Thank you. Appreciate you. Making it clap. Oh, there it is. Twerking faster than the speed of sound. You try to respond to someone's comment, it only says report or block. Yeah, YouTube needs to update that. I think if you type @ like, the @ symbol, and then start to type their name, it should give you the option to click their name and then space. And then you should be able to type your message to them and it will highlight for them. Got some workout soreness, but I still pick up snacks if need be. Gotta do it. How do you do the myofascial release? I need to try it. Well, you have to have like my one buddy's cousin does it, is like a professional masseuse, and I just pay him to, literally he goes to my, because it's my left arm, and it's kind of interesting, honestly, his technique. He will just, it's not just your typical massage where they're kind of just pushing shit around real fast or whatever, but he's kind of almost he closes his eyes and just fucking is like a cat kneading the dough, you know what I mean? But it's as it's going, I can feel the muscles clicking and releasing, and it's just insane. After it's all done, and kind of as the week goes on, the pain starts to subside and get better. It's the best. Yeah, there's a happy ending at the, yeah. He spits on it. No, I'm just kidding. But it's definitely worth it for sure. Unfortunately, the last time I worked out, I had Pop-Tarts. This time I got oatmeal cream pies. You've earned it. Isn't it crazy how many calories those are, though? You can work out for an hour, burn, I don't know, 300, 500 or something, and then as soon as you get one little snack, one snack is exactly that. It's crazy. He uses his hand. Yeah, he uses his hands. But it's because I had some pretty serious pain in my left shoulder after tearing my rotator cuff / labrum area, and this has enabled me to keep lifting, and it's been really nice. When I looked back, the lights were getting closer and it was clear that I was getting pulled over for something. I pulled over and noticed that the car pulled over behind me. The lights went off, and I just sat there for a minute or two contemplating what I could have done possibly to get pulled over like this. I took the key out of the car and set it on my dashboard. I don't know if that's a universal thing, but I was always told when you get pulled over, put the key there. I started to look in the mirror, trying to make out any details that I could, but it was just too dark. From what I could tell, it looked like a pickup truck, but I couldn't be 100% certain. I started to have my doubts that this was even a real cop. I had just never seen a pickup truck cop car before. I started thinking that it could have been an undercover cop, but I still kept going on to the same point, which was, what do I do? Or what did I do? Fuck. Ambrose, welcome back for 13 months. Says, wow, it's been over a year. Your recent space videos, stories videos, is my personal favorite of mine. Oh, thank you, Ambrose. Well, I appreciate that, because not as many people share your sentiment in regards to it, in the fact that there was a lot of positive comments within the video, but just the fact that it really didn't get many views from typical viewers. Do you have Yasso bars, though? Greek yogurt frozen. Oh, I thought you meant Yasso bars. I was thinking of the type of workout bar. I never tried the Yasso before. I'm down to try anything once. Gerald Meadors with a 5 says, "Hey, I tried to find the poop stories you did a while back, but couldn't. Did you remove them, or need I look harder?" Poop stories? Which one's the poop stories? Like comedic ones? Or because the comedic stories are down just because they were narrated and written by a separate channel who, unfortunately, in the video, well, it is what it is. It's I was just kind of worried that it would get the channel like demonetized based on like what it said, so I was like, well, it's probably best that I just take it down. Roki with the 5. I donated $1,000, $1 at a time. How fast would you block me? I don't know. I wonder if YouTube would even allow like spam donations of small amounts. I mean, maybe it would. It'd be like, oh, that's just more money for us. But thank you, Roki. Did you seriously have poop stories? I don't think I had poop stories, but they were like, what were they called? They were just called like funny stories, and they had a picture of like Morgan Freeman wearing like clown makeup, and I would release them on April Fool's Days and stuff. Are you looking for the poop that took a pee story, or which one you're looking for? The Nighthawk, yeah, that shit was so funny, dude. I remember, like, yeah, the Colonel Mustard stories. They're still on his channel if you ever want to, like, go watch them. I think he still makes stuff on there. He's really funny. I had just never seen a pickup truck cop car. Why is that so hard to say? I had just never seen a pickup truck cop car, and I started thinking that it could have been an undercover cop, but I still kept going to that same point, which was, what did I do? Finally, someone emerged from the vehicle. It was dark, but I could clearly see that this person was wearing black pants and a black hooded sweatshirt. Full alarm bells were going off because I was sure that I had never seen a cop with a hoodie on, but it didn't speed away because I still had that fear of, what if this was a cop? I would be fleeing the police and they would have my license plate, and it was a whole mental battle that I was having. He looked like wobbling all over the place as he was walking towards my car, and when he got to my window, which was rolled down about a quarter of the way, I could see most of his face, even through the hood as it was firmly on. He shouted from outside the window, "Step out of the vehicle." I don't know, I'm just gonna I don't really want to yell dialogue right now. You wrote a song, probably gonna release it. Yeah, release it. Gotta do it. You never know if it's gonna pop off. He starts shouting from outside the window, "Step out of the vehicle now." I could immediately smell the booze reeking out of his breath towards my face through the little crack in the window. And I know I'm stupid, but it took me this long to finally be sure that this wasn't a real cop. And I just yelled through the window, "No," grabbed my keys, and tried to start my car. While I was struggling to find the keyhole, the man shouted again that I said get out right now. He then lifted part of his sweatshirt and started to pull something out that looked like a firearm, but I couldn't be sure. I just ducked down, put the car into gear, and drove off as fast as I could. I couldn't enjoy any relief in that moment, though, because within seconds, I now saw him following me. He didn't turn on the flashing lights, but got close enough to my car that he was straight up tailgating. If I switched lanes, he switched lanes. The speed limit The speed limit on these dark roads was 45 miles per hour, and I was driving over 65 miles per hour trying to lose this guy. Before I knew it, I was almost 30 minutes away from campus, and this guy was still directly on my tail. I then did something that I had seen a million times in movies, and I couldn't believe that it actually worked. I was closing in on an on-ramp for the highway. I waited until the last possible second, and then swerved over and got onto the highway, forcing him to miss the ramp, or he may have crashed. About 2 minutes passed, and I saw no lights behind me. I hoped that I had finally lost this madman. Instead of coughing, concealed salami. That's a good YouTube name. Life is a highway. Instead of getting off at the next exit, which I had a feeling that he may have thought was my plan, I made an illegal U-turn on the highway and got to the other side. I made the short drive back and got off the exit that I got on. I had no idea where I was. I drove around slowly for a while until I found a 24-hour gas station, and I go inside and told this guy what had happened and basically just begged him to call the police in that moment, which thankfully he did. I also had to ask him for directions back to the school. Now, this was before everyone had cell phones all the time, so I couldn't just GPS my way back. I had a brick phone that I usually just kept in my dorm, and when the cops showed up, I gave them all the information I could, which honestly wasn't that much since it was so dark. I mean, how many people own a pickup truck and a hoodie? Probably millions. The cop was honest and told me that they most likely would never find out who the man was since I didn't get any plate information. He was super nice though and escorted me back to the school just in case that man resurfaced. I think about that night a lot and just how crazy it was and how stupid I was. I wanted to punch the past version of myself for pulling over and not reacting faster. Whenever I have a truck tailgating me at night now, I'm always reminded of that night, and I just hope that all these years later that truck man never returns. Shoeman, oh, it's Shoeman 1000 himself. What kind of, do you make videos, Shoeman? Videos. Scary Story Part 5, Online Dating. True Scary Story. The Ass Goblin. Hashtag addiction. Nice. You make only shorts or oh, okay, they're like TikTok transferred over to. Nice. Yeah, good. Yeah, thanks for dropping in. Was that story 3 or 4? I think that was 3. I don't think I'll ever get over Truck Man. I don't even know. The way some people end their shit. I don't think I'll ever get over Trucky. Story reminds you of the Mr. Nightmare fake cop video. You know, fake cop videos would actually be a good video, I feel like. Truck Man's like Man Bear Pig. Or what's that like new Choo Choo Charlie? Have you guys played, or Choo Choo Charles? Have you guys played that game? Where it's like a demonic fucking train like chasing you everywhere. Oh, you do parody videos? Nice, that's fun. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. Some parodies from back in the day that was on the channel. They're definitely needed. We need some levity in this world. A few years ago, my girlfriend and I decided to drive cross-country. Not for any special reason other than just for the thrill of the adventure. We had done beach trips, cruises, skydiving, you name it, but the one thing we never did was drive across the country. I can't remember exactly what state we were in, but it was somewhere in the Midwest of the country. We found this cute little diner and decided to grab some food, and that was the one thing that we wanted to do at each place that we stopped at, find a diner and eat. We were sitting in a small booth in the back of the restaurant, and a middle-aged woman approached me. She was short and had a bit of an average build. Her hair was red and shoulder-length with some curls at the bottom. What I remember the most about her physical appearance was her bright green eyes. I had never seen green eyes like hers before, and they were just objectively very pretty. But she pulled a curveball on me when she looked me right in the eye and told me that I had the most beautiful eyes that she had ever seen. I just smiled and laughed a little bit. I was flattered, and I thanked her and went back to drinking my coffee. This woman then sat down next to my girlfriend and continued to tell me how beautiful my eyes were. At first it was nice, but now all of this was getting very creepy, and I could tell my girlfriend just wasn't having this at all. It was probably a full minute or two of her raving about my eyes before she finally got up and went back to her table where she was sitting alone. Wonder how much money the creators of like those indie games end up making, like the ones that end up being played by Markiplier and Poopy Pie and Jacksepticeye shit, you know. It makes you wonder if that's like the goal, you know? Like they sit down, they're like, if we can just get one big YouTuber to do a bunch of fucking jump scares to this shit, we could make a whole boatload of coin. Can you make video games, Mega? You're a gamer gal, a hacker of sorts. You're a Moist fan? I'm a big YouTuber. Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I don't, like, play video games. And I'm not really a big YouTuber. I'd say I'm, like, a medium-sized YouTuber. I'm of average size. You know, because, I mean, well, because it's like, isn't it, like, I get 5 million views-ish a month. Dude, some of these people get, like, hundreds of millions of views a month, like, since, you know. That shit's fucking wild to me. Like, that would blow my fucking brain hole. How do you even do that? Medium is premium. I'm an economy size YouTuber.
Hey everyone, it's me. Let's read. Yeah, I don't know. Today we're just gonna like make a bunch of milquetoast commentary on really boring topics and e-celebrities. Thanks for all the money. See ya.
Thank you for the 5 gifters to Brent Forte, Caitlin, Big Walk, Kirk Wilson, and Kelkashi and Kenny Aragon. Thank you. Good to see you. And all of you guys now have access to bonus content. Roki with the 10 says, do you know any fishing areas in PA? I do OTR and love fishing. Wait, what's OTR? I do remember that hearing stories of, what the fuck is his name? One of the presidents, I think it was Jimmy Carter, used to like fly fishing somewhere in Pennsylvania. Fisherman's Paradise or something. I think that was like his go-to spot. I've never been to it, but I've heard of it. But I don't really fish either.
Mischievous dog.
But there's a lot, man. Like there's got to be a Pennsylvania's just mainly woods anyways, so there's got to be a fuck ton of good fishing spots. Mischievous frog. want me to marry you? Get in line. No, it's all good. Jimmy Carter looks like a corpse now. What's that guy from like One E Plays or whatever? The Zach guy who has like the nasally voice. I feel like I would just see some of the highlights from that stuff, and he would like talk about, "Did you guys hear that Jimmy Carter died?" Like, what? I'm just kidding. I don't know. Oh, he does look like a corpse. Holy actual fuck. Looks like Prince Edward. But hot. Looks like Joe Biden. Oh, his wife passed away. It's like Garfield. Hey, I'm Garfield. What's going on? Need some lasagna. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, today Odie fucking ripped up the Xbox controller. And John beat him with like a clothes hanger, like one of the metal ones. Yeah, I'm not supposed to tell anybody that, but I just feel like animal abuse is wrong, and you know, if I can only communicate to you guys through like comic strips, maybe one of you can call the police or something. Joel, I do actually have friends that are game devs, though. Alright, if they actually are, tell them to keep up the good work. It was probably a full minute or two of her raving about my eyes before she finally got up and went back to her table where she was sitting alone. I started to bust my girlfriend's chops because she seemed a little jealous, which I found funny because she's really not the jealous type at all. I did notice a few times at dinner. Girl dinner. Girl dinner is eating at the diner, but also working there. What story on how many? This is story 4 of 11. I did notice a few times at the diner that the woman was staring at me, but I pretended not to notice. I didn't want to freak out my girlfriend, and I'm not gonna lie. This felt a little obsessive, and I was just ready to hit the road. We left and hit the road for several hours, and every few hours I would ask my girlfriend what she thought about my eyes, just to rile her up. She wasn't as amused as I was, unfortunately. While we were driving, she kept telling me that she had a really bad feeling about that woman. She claimed that something wasn't right, and she felt like she was dangerous, or at least had the capabilities to be dangerous. I didn't think necessarily like that, even though she was a little wacky. Eventually, we stopped talking about her and just continued our trip with no talk about those eyes. During the night sometime, we decided to pull over at some sort of desolate mountain road. I pointed to the sky, and we couldn't really believe our eyes of the view of the stars. It looked like we were standing in space. I took the truck off-road a little bit and decided to open the back of the truck so we could lay back there for a while and just stare at the night sky. It was lovely, and for a moment one of the best times of my entire life. Until it nearly became one of the most scary and startling moments that I'd ever experienced. About 20 minutes after getting in the back of the truck, we heard something weird. I was sure that it was a coyote or some other type of animal that just dwelt in the area, but it became clear that the noise was a voice and not an animal. I grabbed my softball bat, which was in the back of the truck, and jumped out from the back. Standing right there, on the side of my truck, was the woman from the diner. She was just looking at me with her hands behind her back. She wasn't smiling or frowning. It was just the most blank expression I had ever seen. She was clearly mumbling something, but I couldn't tell what she was saying. I told my girlfriend to just get into the front seat and grab my keys, which she did quickly. This woman never broke eye contact with me the entire time. I slowly backed up to the driver's side door, and once I was next to the door, I basically just jumped into the truck. I put the keys in and sped away, but I didn't get very far because this woman dove in front of my truck. I slammed on the brakes. Thankfully, I didn't run her over. I could hear this woman crying and screaming on the outside, and I was ignoring it to the best of my ability. After that dive, I swerved around her and just sped off, leaving this huge cloud of dust in my retreat. Maybe a mile or so down the road, we saw a car parked on the side of the road, and we both just knew that it must have been hers. The pit in our stomachs grew even bigger. We must have made enough distance between us and her because thankfully we never saw her again. And while we were driving away, we started to reflect on that moment to realize just how scary and horrible that could have been. We drove for hours after that diner. This woman followed us, and somehow without us noticing, and even across state lines. What she intended to do to us is unknown, and I'm happy that it's going to stay that way. If I didn't jump out of the back of that truck when I did... Wait. Jump out the back of the truck? I thought, why did he have to jump out of the back of the truck? I thought he jumped in the truck. If I didn't jump out of the back of that truck when I did, who knows what she would have done. Enough time has passed now that when we tell this story, my friends like to joke that this woman is the monster from Jeepers Creepers because she wanted my eyes. It's a ridiculous little chapter of my life, and one that I'm happy to have escaped with no real harm done. What's up, Queef? Wasn't sure if the stream was... Oh yeah, every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. New videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Don't you cry no more. Oh yeah, I gotta move this chat over a tad so I can see. So I can better see these stories. Oh, so sorry asking too much, but what do you think about channels with only shorts? Can they make money? I gotta be honest with you. Not a lot. Not a lot. Like, I had some shorts that, like, you know, you can check my channel. I think they got like 30,000, 35,000 views. And they made like, I don't even know, like $1? Literally like $1? So if you do shorts, you need to, like, I really think shorts are just like for promotion for the most part, you know, because I'm sure there's many times where you stumble across like a Joe Rogan clip or some random clip from somebody's podcast, and you're like, you know what, maybe I'll check these guys out, and then they actually make money on the podcast or on YouTube or some shit. What was I like as a kid? I was pretty funny. It took me till like middle school to like do sports. So I always hated fucking like running or doing really anything physical, which really sucked because like I didn't realize as a kid that you felt really good when you did physical things. And so anytime like people needed help, it kind of like bled into my character of like avoiding helping people with things, or like, I don't know, just doing any sort of physical anything. And so it's like always in this constant state of just like dreading doing shit and like, I don't know, phys ed and like school, but also like helping parents with stuff. I don't know why I always harp back on that, but I just feel like as a child, one of the biggest things in my head that like really fucked with me was just like generally being out of shape. on as a kid, because it really kills your confidence, being overweight as a child, or really any time, I guess. I guess it depends on how you feel about it. Obviously, some people don't give a shit, but like once you do like get in shape and start to experience that sense of endorphins of like confidence and stuff, you just look back and you're like, why the fuck didn't my parents like feed me so much ice cream and soda? Like, what the hell was wrong with them? They were trying to hold me back. That's what they were doing. They're trying to hold me back. You get treated better after losing weight. You do, dude. And sometimes I notice, like, even just like 20 pounds difference, people like look at you like, oh, wow, you're fuckable again. Cool. Thank you for doing that. Now I don't have to throw up when I look at you. I'm just kidding. Trying to lose 50 pounds. Any tips? Yeah, I mean, it's just calories in, calories out, sadly. I would try to find an exercise that you like, you know what I mean? Like, if you like rowing or biking, just incorporate that, like, 300 additional calorie burn just to kind of keep the metabolism and blood flowing. And try to incorporate some weightlifting into that if you can, because building muscle burns a lot more calories overall. And yeah, try to find alternatives to like the things that you like to eat. So like one thing that I've found more recently, I've talked about a million times, is just like frozen berries, like strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, and shit like that. Normally you would freeze them, but if you leave them in your fridge overnight, you can eat it throughout the day, and it's a huge bag, and the whole bag itself will probably end up only being like 800 calories and very like limited sugar, but it tastes like ice cream once you kind of like let it thaw out and shit like that. But yeah, definitely, yeah, that's a good one, Shoe Man. Like switching from junk food to whole foods, if you can afford it, and like make that happen. But honestly, you could even lose weight as long as you're in a calorie deficit on like McDonald's and shit. Obviously, that wouldn't be advisable, but yeah. Sadly, frozen grapes, even though they are good as fuck, they're kind of a higher sugar content than berries. Berries are just ballin'. Oh yeah, switching from soda, that's always the big one. Getting off of beer and alcohol, because like unfortunately with alcohol, there's a lot of metabolic processes that occur in your or in your body that the second you take a drink, it just like starts to slow all that down, like muscle building and things of that nature. And so it's just best, if you can, to avoid alcohol and cigarettes and all that kind of shit as much as possible, and just sort of detox the body and find new and better, healthier habits. Because there really is like a replacement for everything. Like even pizza, you can find ways to like satisfy your craving for salt, which is probably what you want when... Joel, what exactly is a calorie? I guess a calorie is just a measure of a unit of energy. How much... What is a calorie? It's like something about like how much Fahrenheit it takes to burn said substance within the body, because that's kind of what your body is just the laws of thermodynamics, where you just shove shit into it and then it burns it and breaks it down into other nutrients. And depending on a very somewhat straightforward like calorie in, calorie out kind of complex, or algorithm-esque thing within your body, it decides on whether or not it's going to get stored as fat or burned. What is a calorie? A calorie is a unit of measurement used to quantify the amount of energy that is obtained from food and beverages when they are consumed and metabolized by the human body. It represents the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius or 1 degree Kelvin. Yeah. You're addicted to chips. Yeah, don't Claudius, you like noodles too, right? Late night ramen. That's a tough one. You're like, I'm addicted to that. Joel, have you tried 12-3-30 gym exercises? No, what's that? The interesting thing is after you like I used to kind of like get obsessive over, I don't know, just different food trends. Like, oh, you got to try keto, or you got to try carnivore, or you got to try vegan, you got to try, you know what I mean? Like, you think like this is going to be it, but then you realize at the end of the day, it's like, just eat less and work out more, you know? And if you can count it and get it written down and you know what your baseline is, you'll be fucking fine until you reach your goal. And then once you reach your goal, you make a new goal. Maybe you put on some muscle, maybe, you know, that kind of stuff. How much water do you drink to keep up with your creatine intake? I probably should drink more water, honestly, which reminds me. The carnivore diet does work if you follow it. I tried. It's really unsatisfying to me, though. I remember like doing the carnivore for like a week, 2 weeks or something like that. And I remember like looking at broccoli as if though it was some type of cheat meal. I was like, please just give me some fucking broccoli to have with this steak. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I couldn't get over. Yeah, it was diarrhea. It was bad. It was not great. Your plan is to lose 30 to 40 pounds? Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, and I would definitely just say the way to do it is just to incorporate lots of weight training, just so that your body can kind of like take shape to its new form, whereas sometimes you kind of only do cardio. You can lose the weight, obviously, but you're just going to be, I think, a lot more confident in yourself if you're incorporating weight training for that like structure of the muscles and all that kind of stuff. The cannibal diet, yeah. We crashed on a island here, and I thought that I'd try a new diet, starting with your ass. Carnivore's cheaper. I feel like carnivore was expensive because it was like so many. You had to buy a bunch of meat, but I guess eventually you're really not that hungry very often. I don't know. Carnivore felt really fucking weird, honestly. Like, it was like I would have, sorry, this is TMI, but I would have like diarrhea, but then I would also like, when things started to taper out, I noticed that I didn't have to go to the bathroom really that much. But then also like you're not that hungry that often because meat is just more satiating, you know, it just like fills and takes longer to digest. And it felt weird because I realized in life, like, if I really boil it down, the things that give me satisfaction in life is just eating. Eating and laughing with friends is like the greatest thing of all fucking time. And whenever all of a sudden you're switching to this diet where like you don't really do any of that, it just feels odd. This was the strangest and most unsettling thing that's ever happened to me. It was last year, and I just finished a long semester at school before the holiday break. I was tired and stressed, and I couldn't wait to get home and decompress for a little while before heading back to school. On the drive home, I was planning on staying at a hotel overnight and then just finishing the drive in the morning. I don't know if I got a second wind. I got a second wind. Oh, fuck me, I got a second wind. Drinking more water helps you feel full. That's true too, yeah. It just takes up space in your tum-tum. We're not animals. What's wrong with people? What do you mean? I need help dating girls. I'm 30 and just got my first year at a tech company in tech. Now that I don't have homework and work night shifts, I started to think about girls more. I go to the gym and weigh 170. Yeah, you just gotta put yourself out there and probably join like maybe like a workout class or a yoga class or like something with like common interests, because I know that's the toughest thing, like from, you know, being in your 30s trying to meet people. What the fuck, you know? But I realize that at the end of the day, the only way to do it is to participate in some sort of like group organized bullshit. You know, you're not just like, people always talk about like, oh, you're gonna find your true love at the grocery store. It's like, no, you fucking aren't. Like, you're just gonna you're just gonna be known as that guy who walks up to people at the grocery store. They're just gonna like pepper spray you. It's gonna like preemptively, as soon as you walk in the grocery store, instead of getting deloused, you get sprayed with pepper spray, but just covered in it. And then you get dragged away. I don't know. I feel like you have a better chance of finding someone online or something. We found love in a hopeless place. Live in the middle of bum fudge nowhere. That does make it hard. Do you put yourself out there, or do you gave up on girls, just focus on building your career? A lot of people have given me that advice. Well, you know, I mean, I think if you just started your job, maybe you want to like kind of develop those skills and maybe you can get to know people at work. I don't know how socially isolating the job is. Hopefully it's not, but it is good to focus on yourself for a while, and you can work out and eat well and work on your hobbies or whatever kind of thing, and then jump on the dating apps, or jump on, you know, go take, when you can kind of like find time to do it, go take the classes, the yoga classes, the workout classes, the, I don't know, pottery making, all that kind of bullshit. Join a church. I don't know. You know, I'm just throwing that shit out there. I'm just trying to think of where places where people meet and stuff. After you reach your weight goal, do you take in more calories than you lose to gain muscle? Yeah, I mean, you could gain muscle at any time during the process. You're not really going to gain muscle while losing weight. To build muscle, you will need enough protein and a calorie surplus to build it. But yeah, I think after I get to my weight loss goal, I'm trying to get down to 185. Maybe I'll get to 195 and just be like, fuck it, let's go back up. But at that point, I'm hoping to do more of like a clean bulk of like a calorie surplus with like a lot more whole foods and not fucking Wendy's sliders. Cam Ma with the 2 says, I'm 32. I work 2 jobs. Ugh, life isn't easy. It is not easy, no. But Cam, I wish well for you, my friend. I hope you also can find the time to break free, to find an opportunity and grasp onto it. Church people are a great way to find relationships with good people with strong morals. It's true, yeah. The only thing I didn't like whenever I used to go to church is I just felt like church people were very dorky, you know what I mean? Like, and that's not to put them down at all. Like, I grew up doing church shit, all that kind of stuff. But it got to the point where I, like, as an adult human being, I was just so sick of the fucking side hugs and the you know, the corny jokes and like the clean music. You know, everything has to be clean. Everything's got to be clean and sterilized, and you know, your courting process with, like, you know, the opposite sex has got to be, it's like, even though you're an adult and people leave you alone, it's like people still watch everything you do and like keep an eye on it, and it's just constantly feels like you're in a state of like middle school, and you're like, fuck this shit, I hate this. A little too repressed. Yeah, for sure. I don't even know. Depends on where you're going for church. That's true too. I think that's the weirdest. I mean, that's the tough thing too, is like, you know, when it comes to like faith stuff, I'm just like a lot better at like talking about that and like personal stuff. But like as soon as I get into like a large gathering of individuals talking about faith and things of that nature, that's when it just starts to feel weird, and I start to feel confused, and I'm just like, what is even going on? So I don't know if I'll ever meet anybody again in one of those situations. Maybe if I do have kids when I'm older or some shit, I would like to take them to church just for like structure, let them decide if they want to believe in whatever they want to believe in, but give them like the structure of like being able to, I don't know, have something to do on fucking Sunday with people, etc., etc. Best place to meet women is through friends. That's true too. Been in one of those mega churches where the preachers fly from the sky and all that stuff. I remember seeing like a clip of like there's like a mega church, and then these like army rangers, to like promote the army for like young people at the church, they had these army rangers like rappelled down, and I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, that is like, I don't know why, it just felt like a strange form of like just government propaganda. They're like, they have to like infiltrate your place of worship and get you to go get blown up in the fucking Middle East somewhere. Like, good God, leave us alone, brother. Can we ask you personal questions? Sure, yeah. I mean, I can't say that I'll answer all of them, but you can ask whatever you want. That's why you joined the army. You saw them rappel in at church, and you're like, holy fuck, I want to do that. But then, like, some people had a heart attack because they thought they were being swatted and killed. What's my social security number? All right, first question. All right, I'm distracted. Do you have a day job or you live off YouTube? I live off YouTube. This is my full-time gig. Where am I from? I'm from Pennsylvania. How old am I? I'm 33. How's the kitty? He's good, actually. He's been quiet. Quiet like a moose. Is that him? Sometimes, like a black cat, you just, and it's dark, you like see like a sweatshirt, and you're like, is that my cat? I'm pissed I grew up going to Pentecostal church, then grew up and learned that they are the ones who did snake handling. There was no snake handling. I feel like I should have stopped. Oh, you never got any snake handling? Damn. What's my sign? It's a stop sign. It's a Capri Sun. Do. Did Pradeep get any leftover turkey? He might go crazy about it. I don't know if I got a second wind or if I was just hopped up on all the Red Bull, but I decided to drive straight through instead of wasting the money for a hotel. If I remember correctly, it was around 3 in the morning and I started getting tired. I was doing that thing where your head keeps dropping and no matter how hard you're trying to stay awake, I could feel myself swerving all over the road and I knew that I was never going to make it. I told myself I was going to pull over at the next rest area, but I would never make it that far. I dozed off a little too hard while driving, and I lost control of the car for just a second, and that was a second too long. I ended up driving straight through a guardrail, and my car got wedged into this little ditch on the side of the highway. I sat in disbelief for a moment. This was the scariest moment of my entire life, and little did I know, it was about to get much worse. Once I realized that I was alright, I tried to drive out of the ditch, and it appeared hopeless. I wasn't getting anywhere. I was dreading calling for help, but I knew that it needed to be done. While I was digging for my phone that was on the floor somewhere due to the accident, someone came up and knocked on the window, much like a cop would do. I nearly jumped through the window. I realized quickly it wasn't a cop, and I asked what they wanted with the window still closed. And instead of answering me, he just stared inside the window with this creepy look on his face. Then he started to bang on the window. Softly, but it was still very unnerving. Softly banging. Take walk at the bark with the accent, Joel? What do you mean? Which accent? Hey, Billy, thank you. Wanna softly banging in the backseat. Oh, bark at the moon. Okay. Ah, fuck, I don't even know what I'm reading anymore. And then he started to bang on the window. I kept yelling and telling him to go away, but he just kept knocking, and he started smiling. This went on for a while, and I screamed the entire time. He never changed the rhythm of his banging or how hard he was hitting the glass. At one point, I was just begging for him to stop, but he just kept going like some type of machine. Those horrible teeth, I could see them staring back at me. Then he ran to the front of my car and just stood there. And that's when I got a good look at him. He was about 6 feet tall, if I had to make a guess. He was wearing a white shirt, shorts, and sandals, even though it was under 45 degrees outside. I couldn't exactly what it was. I see. Oh yeah, that must have been what I was thinking about with Tenacious D. Softly. I forget. But I listened to a lot of Tenacious D back in the day. I couldn't tell exactly what it was, but he looked like he had a flower tattoo on his right leg. What was I supposed to do? Get out and confront this guy and probably get stabbed or something? Yeah, I don't think so. I wasn't playing around anymore, though. I called the police right away and told them what had happened and told them about the creepy man. Between the banging on the window and then running to the front of the car, maybe 2 minutes had gone by at most. I did say that he didn't really do anything besides knock on my window, and now he's just standing there sort of looking at me. She didn't seem too concerned and just told me to wait there with the doors locked and that somebody would be there shortly. The entire time I waited, the man didn't move. He just stood there about 3 feet from my car, just looking, smiling. He never broke that horrible smile, not for 1 second. 10 long minutes later, the cops finally pulled up behind me and this crazed man just runs into the night. Fuck. Stories at church. I do have some church stories on the channel. Ten long minutes later, the cops finally pulled up behind me and the crazed man ran into the night. The cop came over to my window and asked me to get out of the car. I was frantically trying to explain to the cop that the guy had just run away, but the cop didn't seem too concerned and just kept telling me to relax, and he actually shushed me like I was some small child. Instead of chasing the guy, he claimed that he didn't see him, and he asked me if I'd been drinking or using any other types of extracurricular substances. And I was outraged, and I may have said a few things that I shouldn't have. I ended up having a very unpleasant conversation with the officer who made me take a field sobriety test. He eventually helped me out of the ditch and followed me to a gas station where I filled up on gas, checked the damage on my car, and got a coffee for the rest of the drive. He didn't even take my statement saying, "What am I supposed to do? Find a guy with sand?" Oh, whoops. He didn't even take my statement saying to... Oh, I see. Hey, Cam Ma with the 20 says, just got a DUI in July. Hopefully at my age that I'm at, I'll learn my lesson, and I'll tell you this. DUIs are only for people that have money. Not simple people can handle this. I'll give you an update after December 29th. I'm sorry to hear that, Cam Ma. Apologize. Hope you can break free of the go-go juice. It's not so good. I've seen it ruin many of my close friends and relatives, and I would prefer that the curse be broken. You gotta lay down and get ready for bed. It's good to see you. Hey, see you, Ben. Take care. But thank you, Cam, again for the 20. And Megumi Muse with the 2 says, everyone hydrate, chat, like the stream. Thank you, Megumi. And for your 10th ever super on live stream. Am I a ramen lover? You know, I like ramen a lot. I just haven't had it in a while. Ramen's way too salty. I like salty soup, honestly. He didn't even take my statement saying, what am I supposed to do? Find a guy with sandals on? I got the impression that he thought that I was just dreaming about the guy. And after that night, I never drove tired again. To this day, I still wonder what that guy wanted. I mean, I know he didn't want anything specifically. Clearly, he wasn't all right in the head. I wondered what he intended. What if I opened the door? What if my phone was broken in the crash? And most importantly, who was the guy and where did he come from? I mean, he was literally there 1 second after the crash. I have to believe those are some crazy odds. I know it's crazy, but I still lose sleep thinking about this all this time later. What do you think this guy would have done if he was able to get to me? I have my own theories, and I don't even want to begin to share them. Okay, that was story 5. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? I don't. Isn't it kind of crazy, like everybody in the world has their own little story going on? There's a guy, some random guy in the way north of Canada right now, and he's curled up in a sort of makeshift shelter. He got lost after getting too drunk while logging, and now he's just up there sitting, wondering if anybody will remember him. I do, logger guy. I do. Dominique, good to see you. And David De La Rosa with the 1. Thank you, David. Seven Leaf Clover with the 5. Kinea says, hey Joel, if you let me borrow a kiss, I promise to give it right back. Oh my god. Oh my god. You can have this one that I keep in my old coat pocket. It's like finding a $20 bill, except it's a pair of lips covered in mold. What's crazy is how unique each human life is. I know, it's strange, you know, it's like, but it's weird when you think about it. It's like there really isn't anything in particular that makes one better or more significant than the other. Like, lately I've been thinking to myself, like, it's really not so much about, like, you know, you think about, like, some, I don't know, and some professor or some sort of, like, movie star or something who's older, and you're like, what a interesting thing that I get to be born and live on Earth at the same time as that human being does. Because there's, like, presumably billions and billions of, like, humans before us and billions of humans after us, maybe trillions, who knows, as we expand outward, that just have existed, gone through the same sort of fears and worries and experiences as you, but then they got old and died, and then the next people came, and then the next, I don't know, it's just fascinating to think that the hell's going on. The fuck? What the frickin' fuck? Cam Ma with the one, not the one, the 10. Sorry. Thanks, Cam. Says it's been really hindering my life, and it's the worst thing I've ever had to go through. I don't want to have anyone go through whatever ever again, like I have been through, and my court date is soon. Well, I hope it goes well for you, Cam. I'm sorry that you went through that, but I hope you never have to do it again, and you can break free of all of that negative stuff for sure. Is that a worm or an octopus? I think it's a larger, like kraken-esque octopus creature with many tendril or, tentacles feeling its way around my old lug boat. It's actually kind of fascinating sometimes when you think about it. Like, you see a lot of stuff on YouTube about, like, drama. Or even in celebrity culture, you just see, like, drama and so-and-so said this or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then you kind of, if you really take a step back and think about it in the grand scheme of, like, human beings, like, every human being that you see doing a bad thing within the celebrity culture or YouTube or something of that nature, comparatively speaking, is probably like one of the best people to exist on the planet ever. Because, like, for whatever reason, like, the standards at which we, like, hold human beings nowadays is, like, really, really high. So, like, whenever we're mad at somebody for words that they've said, it's like, well, at least they never killed anybody, I feel like in the past, a lot of people probably killed people, and got away with it. And they still do it in, like, various other cultures around the world and kind of get away with it, and it's fine. So it's really strange sometimes when I look at, like, people who exist within the realm of entertainment, either as, like, a performer or a consumer. And it's like, and you think, like, I don't know, you see, like, the anger that is often, like, thrusted around. I mean, mainly in Twitter. Mainly. We'll go with Twitter, because Twitter's always the easy pick. But it's weird to think, like, half the things that people are mad about are kind of, like, pointless by comparison. Because why would you even be mad at that person? Because, objectively speaking, you have way more in common with them than, like, the murderer, than Genghis Khan. Nobody's ever mad at Genghis Khan ever. Nobody even thinks about Genghis Khan, but he killed a lot of people. And no one seems to be too worked up about it. Or even like the cartel. Nobody seems to be mad at the cartel ever. Is Pete Davidson Pete Davidson's forgiven. EDP, he can work at Walmart, I guess, or whatever he's doing. I don't know. I don't give a shit about him. He shouldn't be doing bad stuff, but I mean, I guess he never killed anybody, but yeah, it's fuck. He's better than Genghis Khan. Is he? I don't know. We'll do a poll. EDP versus Genghis Khan. Who wins? Celeste Alana with the 2 says, thank you for being the voice I fall asleep to. You're welcome, Celeste. Good to see you. What happened with Pete Davidson? Oh, nothing. He's just very unfunny. And we dated for a bit, and then he broke my heart. And I realized all those jokes that he made me laugh, those late nights of cuddling, meant nothing. I laughed at them for nothing. I think about power and relatability. Your level of untouchableness determines how people react to your actions. But I've also noticed that, like, I don't know, like I saw that stupid Pokimane bullshit where she made some cookies and then like said to somebody like, oh, you know, like, don't you think the cookies are a little expensive, Pokimane? And then she was like, if you're a broke boy, just say so or whatever. And then, you know, people were mad. Who those people are, I don't know. Should I care? No, I don't care. But like, she can say whatever the fuck she wants. But then you think about so many other content creators, like they say, you know, they say real shit like that all the time, you know, where you just like say. So what it comes down to really is not so much about like, it's not so much about what you say, but it's about how often you say something and how you say it. So if you pretty consistently say some pretty like out of pocket shit, maybe some negative shit, maybe some funny shit, you know, it's almost as if though it's like it becomes a dime a dozen so that people don't really react to it. But then for her, you know, because she's kind of built this like sort of, you know, Puritan culture around herself where like everything has to be exactly right. You can't say any bad words, or you can't, you know, I don't actually know what the fuck her culture is, but it doesn't seem fun, you know? And I feel like that's when people are jump on top of her of that stuff, because because it's like the cast the first stone type thing. I don't know, who gives a shit, right? Whatever. Fucking gross ass cookies. I'm probably gonna buy 6 bags though. Do you remember the 2016 clown craze, where random clowns were showing up in neighborhoods and on CCTV and Ring doorbell cameras? No one knew if it was a publicity stunt for the It movies or if weirdos were using it as an excuse to go out and terrorize people. Well, I remember this time distinctly, and I have my own story to share, hence why I'm writing this down for all of you now. It was fall of 2016, and I had recently moved from my hometown to my husband's hometown, which was about an hour and 15 minutes away. My hometown was a much larger city than where we moved, so I frequently made trips for appointments, stores, and appointments, stores? I'm buying the cookies. You guys can't stop me. I'm gonna go look how much they cost right now. But I almost feel like her saying that is like, I mean, the fact that people made a big deal out of it, for the people that maybe don't like her, it's almost like you're giving her more business by talking about it, you know? Because it's not like she said anything that was like too bad. It just kind of indicated that she's a bit rude, which honestly, if you're making $10 million, I think you have the right to be a little bit rude, you know, at that point. You've earned it. You probably dealt with some stupid fucking weirdos, and it's, you know, you get to be a little bit of a annoying queen bitch. Get to be a little bit of a bitch. All right, how much? Let's see. Pokimane cookies. I'm gonna eat them. Oh, cookie review? No. Pokimane cookie drama explained. I gotta get the cookie drama. Apology. Where's the actual fucking product? Not all the other bullshit. Oh, wait. Is it here? And can't even buy the cookies. I gotta, like, hear about her people's thoughts. I don't care what XQC's Adderall rattled brain has to say about any of this shit. Controvert. Where's the actual cookies? Does she even sell any? Whatever. It's too fucking hard. I'm not even gonna waste my time. What flavor are they? I think they're just sugar. You don't know who Pokemon is, but she's not gonna help get my own place. That's exactly, like, isn't it funny, like, the amount of time we spend thinking about, like, D-list E-celebrities and shit whenever it's like, my brother in Christ, we gotta pay our mortgages, for God's sake. $28 for 4 bags of gluten-free cookies. See, that's kind of bullshit. Like, why would you not want gluten? If you're gonna eat fucking cookies, include the gluten. Otherwise, it tastes like a fucking corn husk. Did you see Ethan debate XQC so hard he did the worm? Yeah, that was good. He used his psychic abilities to make him wiggle. I don't know, though, man. I mean, I can't imagine that conversation, like, was productive at all, you know? All this fucking political it's so cringe anymore. Like, no, like, and it's weird sometimes, like, too, whenever you sit and you get caught in it, you get caught up in it, and you see these people who, like, make a massive living from having, like, quote-unquote political opinions. It's like, you have those opinions, but your opinions don't ever really manifest into any sort of, like, legislation or create. Maybe it shifts culture in some fashion, like through some influencing your followers in some way, but it's always weird to me, like, seeing people, like, breaking ties with individuals or arguing with individuals when in reality the thoughts that they're presented with tend to not even be their own thoughts. It's just like some, like, abstract Overton window presented to you by, like, a media apparatus that's usually dictated by the State Department. So it's like, you have to wonder to yourself, how many of your own personal political opinions and thoughts are even your own? Are any of them even your own? They're just like a bunch of, like, set narratives that you have to talk about for the day, and none of them really ever actually objectively apply to your life very often. It's just, if anything, it's just like a narcissistic way to, like, be entertained, which is fine. That's a fun thing to do, you know? Whenever we're, like, selling and, you know, sending cookies halfway across the world, I think we've earned that right to be a little bit insane. It's good to be informed, but, like, that's all I ever hear. Like, beyond that, what does that even mean? And I don't say that to be rude. It's just like, what's the end goal? Because, like, say you're informed, but then that person that's informing you is telling you that the other person who has the opposing view within that Overton window is a not so good person, and then all of a sudden you have, like, a sort of innate bias against somebody at work because they think a certain way, and you're like, ah, shit, I'm out a friend because I subconsciously buried these thoughts into my head that are now ingrained with my identity, and now because that person is challenging my identity from these arbitrary words I heard online, now I don't want to be their friend. And it's like, well, there you go. Now you missed out on a relationship with another human being, when I feel like that, as a person on Earth, should be, like, your biggest focal point, is, like, growing your network and growing those interactions, instead of just, like, severing them because of some sort of tale that's some sort of yarn that's spun. It's weird. John Campbell, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Sleepy Guerrero, welcome back for 7 months as well. It says, I'm on a Security Plus course for the next couple of hours, and it's been death by PowerPoint. My brain is exhausted to the max. I forget it was Tuesday, but thanks. Heck yeah. Sorry about that. I hate PowerPoint, dude. It's so boring. Yeah, you're a far center moderate. Yeah. And hey, that's fine to be that. It's honestly kind of impressive that, like, because it was so weird. I remember, you know what? Who fucking gives a shit? I don't care anymore. Let's read this stupid story. My hometown was a much larger city where we moved, and so I frequently made trips for appointments and stores and restaurants that we didn't have in our new town. I remember having to travel up after work for a doctor's appointment, and on my way, I saw signs that the main highway was going to be closed for 2 exits starting at 7 p.m. and reopening first thing in the morning. I remember hoping that I could be back on the road in time so I didn't have to take a detour off the highway. Unfortunately, by the time I was heading home, it was too late, and I knew that I was going to be diverted off of the highway for a few exits. I called my husband to see if he knew any quick ways for me to get home, but he didn't and advised me to follow the traffic pattern and the detour signs. There was a line of traffic, thankfully, as it was basically pitch black out. We were moving slowly, crunchy, through some crunchy roads. Back crunchy roads. Roki with a 10 says, New year, new you. Use your damn blinker. I shall try my best. We need relationships, and I force myself because otherwise the brain goes to soup. Yeah, it's odd. It's genuinely odd to see people would rather exist in and maybe that's just part of being human, is just this desire to exist in a state of internal and external, like semi-external conflict. Or maybe sometimes the external conflict is a manifestation of the internal conflict within, but wouldn't it be like way more fun to just like have friends and go to a bounce house and, not worry what their opinions are about some like distant fucking war that has nothing to do with you, that you will never have a decision on anyways. And it's not like some generals are like, I was checking Twitter earlier and I saw what they said about the hashtag, and I guess I won't blow that wall up anymore. I guess we won't send the army to secure the poppy fields anymore. People complained online. Guys, we gotta get focused. I don't know. It's just all such a waste of your soul and energy. And what's even weirder to me is like getting on Twitter and seeing like really popular like voice actors. I remember that was like one of the biggest deterrent from even participating in that realm, even though it's not like if I could I would, but I mean at the same time, like just kind of getting on and seeing like really popular voice actors like have just like talking fucking crazy politics online, but like in a really aggressive, angry tone. It's not like they're giving some like thoughtful insight that they've poured over hours of like study to like learn and dissect and understand. It's just like they're just pissed. But what the fuck are they pissed for? Their job is to make silly voices online and entertain people, yet it doesn't seem like they're doing any of that shit. It just seems like a really, really abstract example to set for individuals that, want to follow you and, follow you specifically for the fact that you're talented, Just use your talents, don't use your other shit. But I'm sure that people saying that right now, they're like, well, fucking read, Joel, fucking read. You don't think humans are meant to worry about things outside their immediate environment? Yeah, I think that's true too. I think there's a lot of truth to that for sure. Mainly because it's like, if you find out about like, the grandma dies and that's sad, and it's like the estate's getting split up, and oh no, mom and Aunt Jezebel are, arguing about who gets access to the house or who gets to inherit the old Firebird or some stupid shit like that, and now they're not friends. That's, no one else, in the fucking Tri-County area, let alone the whole world, gives a shit about your shit. But that's important to you, and there's a way, and that's actually something objectively that you can like participate in to help bring, peace to that scenario and then peace to your own life. And I think that's how it's supposed to be. You're just supposed to focus on your own shit, and everything else is just erroneous entertainment, and to sit there and pretend like being informed or something is somehow like changing you or the world. It really isn't, objectively speaking. It's like reading Harry Potter and being like, I know the most about Harry Potter. You have access to the house. Nice, dude. Come on in. I mean, Papa Joel doesn't go on political rants on Twitter, so there's that. Yeah, I mean, it's just too much energy. Like, sometimes you type it up and you're like, who fucking gives it? No, everyone's just gonna be mean to me, and, you know, they're gonna fucking be like, what are you even talking about? And then I'm gonna be like, yeah, what am I talking about? I'm gonna go eat my fucking Chipotle burrito and shut the fuck up. Chrissy Meowry, welcome back for 11 months. Says, Joel, you're welcome to go on as many tangents as you want. They're my favorite part of your streams. Much love to you and your pretty. Thank you, Chrissy. I just feel like it's a tangent that I go on way too often because it's just sort of like, I just want peace. That's literally all I want. I want people, especially domestically, to just chill out. Like, there's, you know, you're being, like, I want you to know that you are being tricked. You are being tricked by people with incredible amounts of wealth and power and influence to trick you into thinking that your neighbor is your enemy because they think something different about something that both of you were kind of just like hand spoon-fed information. You know, so it's like they're not even unique ideas that are being spouted by both sides, but they're, you know, they're still your, you know, your fellow citizen. They're still your friend. They're still your neighbor. They're still, you know, so it's like that is just what I hope people eventually figure out in their mind, is that the energy that they expend on negative things was just never worth it. I need to drink Pepsi for world peace, exactly. Please read this comment. If you do, can I get a shout out? What's up, Lucas? How you doing, buddy? You know Burger King has tacos. I had no idea, and I ate one last night. Was it good? Or was it dog shit? Because I have a feeling that it's like, I saw a meme where it's like they sprinkle the cheese on the top just so specifically it like falls all over your lap in the car. They were just okay. Yeah, that sounds about what I would expect from a Burger King taco. A Baco. Hope you're doing well, Joe. I've been out failing my board exam twice. Good stuff. That's okay. I failed it twice and passed the third time, if we're talking about medical shit. I just didn't study hard enough the first time, and then the second time I actually got caught off guard. I was like, oh, I tried harder, I thought. But then the third time I thought I was going to fail and then just passed it. And I don't know, I kind of thought that maybe they were like, just let this guy through. He's paid enough fucking money. We're going to meet in the trench and get tacos. I don't know. War, man, that's one of the biggest things is like, I know that sometimes like war will be the one thing that gets everyone to chill out. In a weird way, as odd as that sounds. Like they'll be like, oh, we have bigger problems now. But I really don't want war. And I really hope that we don't get pushed into something like that. I just don't like, you know, I just don't like the concept of some abstract hierarchy tells you what to do and who to hurt and all that kind of stuff just because they said, you know, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. Ever tried tacos de langua? I don't think so. That sounds yummy, though. Still thinking about the moldy pocket kisses. Hang on to it. You're going to save that. It's going to age like fine cheese. We were moving slowly down country roads when I saw some light off in the distance. It was a gas station, a pretty large one in fact, and I decided to stop off to use the restroom and grab a little gas before the rest of the drive home. I got out of the car, put my credit card in, and started pumping the gas, hoping that it would only take $20 to $30 to fill it the rest of the way. I started looking around at the surroundings as the wind picked up and threw some trash out of an overflowed can. An overflowed can. What's up, guys? My name's Overflowed Can. I'm a Minecraft YouTuber. I started looking around at the surroundings as the wind picked up and threw some trash out of an overflowed can onto the ground. Across from the gas station was about 20 feet of grass and a tree line that went the length of the road. As cars were coming in the opposite direction, the side of the road became illuminated briefly as they zipped by. I started to squint, thinking that I saw a deer, or maybe a couple of deer, approaching the side of the road. I couldn't really make out what it was, but there was definitely something moving very slowly coming out of the tree line and approaching the road. As the silhouette got closer, I realized that it was shaped like a person, with light brown tattered clothing and what seemed to be a mask. But as the figure made its way closer to the gas station, I could see that it was someone dressed in a clown costume with clown makeup. Instantly terrified as I was traveling by myself and at a random gas station, I hurried into the convenience store to use the bathroom so I could get in and get out, hopefully before the clown made it any closer to that station. I used the restroom, which was disgusting by the way, and approached the exit door, surveying the parking lot before I made a dash for my car. I opened the door, which the wind flung open almost... What do cows eat? I guess usually eat burger meat. Baby Weeb, with your first ever super on live. You make everything better, super crossed right now, but if you could shout out my boyfriend Jay, it would mean a lot to both me and him. Hello Jay. Thank you for having an awesome gal friend. Thank you. Cow tongue, not as common as it was back when my dad was a kid, but was also country as fuck in the 60s. That's interesting, because I feel like cow tongue now is like some sort of delicacy, because it's just kind of odd and rare. Not necessarily rare, but just like, nobody eats it, so I feel like if somebody slammed down a cow tongue in front of me, that would be like, oh, oui, this is the cow tongue. We took it over 50 years to allow it to grow the appropriate moldy cheese on it for the flavor. And then as soon as it touches your tongue, you projectile vomit. Fascinated traveling through Oklahoma, how many gas stations had gone under. Yeah, I guess it's just maybe an indication of like the oil trade down there kind of dying or something. Like as it gets used up, those places that spawned from it just disappear. I've been seeing a lot of like YouTube shorts of I don't know, people making sandwiches that just look so fucking good. Like using prime rib to like cook into a flatbread sandwich, or just like homemade bread sandwiches, and it's just like, oh my god, it makes me want to be a cook, honestly, or like like a fucking chef Boyardee. Yo, do you like Froggy Fresh? I remember Froggy Fresh he was in that boxing, the boxing event for iDubbbz or whatever. Is that who you're talking about? And I listened to some of his songs during that period of time. I do recall some of them being pretty cool. And I do appreciate him trolling his girlfriend and iDubbbz and all that kind of stuff. Still a really weird, just a weird thing. How was my Thanksgiving? It was great. It was awesome. Spent it with family and then friends, and got to come back here and stream. Try camel meat. I'm curious, actually. Can you shout out my son Steven, or is it Stefan? Oh yes, it looks like the A, so Stefan, right? He would lose his mind. Hello, Stefan. Or Stefan. Stefan. I opened the door, which the wind flung open, almost knocking me over. I clicked the button on my keys to unlock the door, and just as I was going to grab the handle, I heard, Wait. I clicked the button on my keys to unlock the door. Isn't the door already open? I opened the door, which the wind flung open almost. I clicked the button on my keys to unlock the door, and just as I was going to grab the handle, I heard. Which is it? Is that not? Am I wrong for that? Is that confusing? It sounds like two separate scenarios that don't coincide with each other. I'm the cop. I'm the cop in this scenario. So which is it, lady? Which story, huh? Did the door flung open, or did you just use your keys? The station door flung open? It said... Oh, you're right. Good point. I'm the worst cop ever. I'm already doubting the victim. I used the restroom, which was disgusting, by the way, and approached the exit door, surveying the parking lot, and before I made a dash... Oh, I see. Before I made a dash. For some reason, I thought they already made the dash to the car. Okay. I opened the door, which the wong sea turtle meat soup. Oh man. For some reason I don't know, I'm just imagining the circumstances in which I have that. It probably wouldn't be great. Ouch. I'm from PA, out driving alone at night, now doing my job delivering. Listening to your stories keeps me awake. Nice, Lori. Good luck out there, and stay safe. Stay safe. Stay safe. I opened the door, which the wind flung open, almost knocking me over. I then dashed for the car. I clicked the button on my keys to unlock the door, and just as I was going to grab the handle, I heard... Wait. Fuck. I clicked the button on my keys to unlock the door, and just as I was going to grab the handle, I heard... How are you, young lady? I froze as the tattered, horrifying-looking clown rose from a crouched position in front of my car and began shuffling towards me. Panic kicked in, and I let out a gurgled yelp and ran back into the gas station, immediately called my husband and proceeded to tell him and the clerk what was going on in the parking lot. My husband was obviously upset and mad at himself for not being with me. He usually always accompanied me on these trips, and I told him that this time he should just stay back and stay with the dogs. He reminded me that he put pepper spray in my purse just in case. The clerk had already made his way out to the parking lot. God, it's so cold. I need a full onesie winter suit, but it's really thin. What audio interface do I use? It is called... What is it? It's Zoom. It's made by Zoom. Zoom. It's called Zoom UAC2. I was gonna get the Scarlet, but I had already been using Zoom products with the microphone that I have. So I was like, who knows? Maybe this is, higher quality or some shit. But it served me pretty well thus far. Oh, you bought a Scarlet? Nice, dude. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's just control volume and control, I guess mainly just volume input for, controlling background noise and shit. You like Zoom products, Claudius? Yeah, they're sick. Have I played The Last of Us? I played a decent amount of the first Last of Us. I'm trying to remember where I got to. But I already knew a ton about it, and for some reason I kind of got bored of the whole like, it's either stealth or it's, you know, shooting, and it's stealth and it's because it reminded me a lot of like just Drake's Uncharted, which I had like I think before that played it already, so it kind of just felt like it was going right back to it. Baby Weeb with the 2 says, love you guys, love you Papa Joel, I'm gonna go sleeps. Good night, Baby Weeb. Sleep toy. Thank you for the 2. I run an SM7B into an Elgato Wave XLR. Everything is controlled through software, so I can do whatever. Oh, that's cool. Is it kind of remove background noise pretty powerfully? The clerk had already made his way out of the parking lot and was surveying the area for anyone. Sorry. The clerk had already made his way out of the parking lot and was surveying the area for anyone. He came back in and said, I don't see anyone out there. I told my husband that I was going to walk to the car with him still on the phone, and the clerk offered to walk with me, which I accepted. I didn't see anything other than the wind blowing. Fuck. Am I watching videos at the end? I don't think so. Once it hits like past midnight, I gotta get my sleep or I feel like shit for the gym the next day. I do hope to get back and maybe start streaming earlier and get back into reacting to scary, spooky tapes. I didn't see anything other than the wind blowing. I keep cracking. I keep crack-a-lacking. I didn't see anything other than the wind blowing the trees in the distance, but as I got closer to the car, I shouted, dropped my phone, and pulled out the pepper spray. The clown was crouched behind one of the garbage cans next to the pump. The clerk ran directly over there, screaming, telling him to get off the property and that he was calling the cops. The clown shuffled back across the road and towards the tree line. The clerk apologized and asked if I was all right. I said yes and got into my car and told my husband I was okay and that I was heading home and should be back in about 35 to 40 minutes. This next part I can... This next part, I still can't say with certainty that it happened or not, but as I began driving down the road, I swore that I saw a person with different clown paint tucked right against the trees, slowly waving at my car as I drove by. I think so much adrenaline was pumping through my body that I couldn't rationalize if my mind or if I was really seeing something. I think so much adrenaline was pumping through my body that I couldn't rationalize if it was my mind or if I was really seeing something. My husband, who barely let me go anywhere by myself before now, makes sure every time I drive after dark that he's there with me. And ever since this incident, I've developed an extreme fear of clowns. I can't watch shows or movies with them or it brings me back to this experience. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my story and please let me know if any of you had experienced anything similar around that time. What do you think? Was this guy just pranking me due to all the crazy clown stuff going on? Or do you think I actually was in real danger? What do you think? Was this guy pranking me due to all the crazy clown stuff going on? Or was I in any real danger? I would say no. I would say seeing as it literally did nothing. What they should have, the clerk should have just shot the clown in the head. But I always thought that that era of the clown thing was so funny to me, because it's just I remember being at work, working night shift at the hospital, and one of the CNAs coming up and being like, hey, there's a clown coming around the hospital, doing stuff, or people said they saw clowns and stuff walking around. We're gonna go out and get one. And I was thinking to myself, go out and get one. I was like, this isn't some fucking abstract creature that was born in the field, you know what I mean? They did, like, clowns don't fucking lay eggs, dude. That's like a dude in a fucking in a mask, and you're just gonna go grab him. We're gonna go put out traps for the clowns. Bear traps. We're gonna go put peanut butter on a little sticky trap. Get a clown. What's a clown eat? Clowns are cryptids, yeah. Big ass net, and then you like, or like, you know, it's like old photo. That would be a good like AI photo to put through. Like people, you know, like hunters holding up like a clown carcass, but it's like an old timey photo or something. You see, they've been around a long time. It's the only thing Bigfoot's scared of. Alright, I am gonna go take my magnesium for sleep, and then I'll be right back. Oh, did someone... Oh, shit. Nocturnal Miss So. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships, too. Takaho Demboski. Sierra Kazan. Ashley McCann. Level 20 Mudkip. And the Hawk. Is Hawk here? Oh, there he is. Yeah, what's up, Hawk? But thank you. You guys now have access to bonus content, which once again, there is a new bonus content video up for anybody who wants to check that out. Can I say duty? Duty. Big duty. What time do you wake up the day following one of these late ass live streams? Pretty late, to be honest with you. Yeah, probably like mid late morning. Then I gotta go to the gym. Then I come back and edit, get that up, go about my existence. Hey, C Money, take care. All right, friends. Well, we got one more story here for your ears. Oh, about late night driving. Yeah, crazy driving. Do you need some help, bud? Yeah, I could use some help. Some mental help. Did Pradeep get lots of turkey? I wish. Unfortunately, he was unable to kill one this year. What do you do when teenagers terrorize you? I mean that sincerely. Like, what are your... Fuck. Watched the last 800 videos. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate you. That's a lot of videos. But that's awesome. It's crazy that I even have 1,000 videos. Wait, did the Spotify rap shit, did that start already? I started seeing me getting tagged in that kind of stuff on social media. I was curious if it already started. What do you do when teenagers terrorize you? I mean that sincerely. Like, what are the rules and laws? Well, I'm going to tell you a story so you understand what I mean. I stopped at a rest stop while driving to a town that's about 3 hours from where I live. My job has me visiting... Shit. I'm going to re-lube the lips. Make it easier to read. Hey, love you too, Ad. Good to see you. Thank you for getting me through both my deployments. You're welcome, Jonathan. I'm glad you're back with us in the land of the free. Let me tell you, I was at my job at many places all over the... Oh, okay, here we go. I stopped at a rest stop while driving to a town that is about 3 hours from where I live. My job has me visit places all over the region, and I usually have to be there at 6 or 6:30 in the morning. So whenever I have to go far, I usually just leave in the middle of the night. One night specifically, I wasn't feeling very well. A little over halfway through my drive, I felt like I wanted to stop at a rest stop to go to the bathroom, wash my face, and just maybe try to recalibrate myself because I was feeling horrible. I was in the bathroom for maybe 15 minutes. I don't need to go into any more details there, but when I came out of the bathroom and started walking toward my car, I was confronted by 4 teenagers, clearly under the age of 18. One of them said something. I couldn't understand him, and one of the other ones hit me on the back of the head. And before I knew it, all 4 of them were kicking me while I lay in this fetal position on the ground. It didn't help that I felt like I was going to throw up, but I also felt like I couldn't defend myself because they were clearly teenagers. They took my phone and wallet from my pocket, and I was able to push one of them off of me while they were doing this. I made a sprint for my car, and for once I was happy that... What is he worried about them being teenagers? Like, if they're beating the shit out of you, I feel like you have it well within your right to bust a cap. Well, maybe not a cap, I don't know. But definitely respond in turn.
Some random teens beat a grown-up man.
I mean, it's definitely possible. Teenagers are fucking pretty much full strength at that point anyways. I sprinted to my car, and for once I was happy my lock button didn't always work. My car was still unlocked, so I was able to get in, and I manually locked the doors. These kids surrounded my car, in the front and the back, and I felt trapped. It's easy to say what you would have done in this situation, but I promise you, if you were in my shoes, you would have been scared and confused as well. Whenever I told this story, people would often just tell me, "You should have just run them over." Yeah, I'm going to run over a bunch of teenagers. And honestly, in hindsight, I probably would have just done that, but at the moment... And honestly, in hindsight, I probably would have done just that, looking back, but in the moment I was scared and I just didn't know what to do. While I was trapped in this situation, the kids kept smashing my car and trying to break my windows. I could really only clearly see the one teenager in front of my car. He was smashing my hood with both of his fists and some large blunt object in the other hand. I think it was a pipe or something. He had green hair and he was really skinny. They were all skinny, I do remember that. But it was his face I remember the most. You know when you can tell someone is just young? Like his face was so young, and a few of these teenagers still had high-pitched voices, I could hear them. And I knew it was only a matter of time before they would get in if they kept smashing my car the way they were. And I hate to say this, but I was already accepting my defeat. And then something happened that pretty much saved my life. A car pulled into the rest area and it caught the attention of the two teens who were standing behind my car. They kind of stepped away and moved toward the other vehicle for a moment. The vehicle that pulled in saw what was happening and they sped off immediately. They must have got scared. Either they saw my car was getting smashed or they saw 4 people eyeing them up and thought to themselves, "Not happening." That brief distraction was all I needed though. I put the car into reverse and slammed down the gas. I spun the car around, put it in drive, and sped off just like the other car. I could see the 4 teens pursuing me on foot in my mirror, but once I got back on the highway, I was long gone. And that was the longest drive of my entire life. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't call for help because they had my phone. I didn't stop, and I ended up driving all the way to work, and once I got inside, I was able to call the police and told them what happened, and more importantly, where it happened. I hoped that maybe they would send a patrol car to the rest area in case these monsters ever came back to prey on someone in the middle of the night again. Granted, I wasn't in the right state of mind that night, but I didn't see anyone at all there when pulling into the parking lot that night. There were no other cars there, so these kids were hiding somewhere, literally just waiting to jump someone. It's actually sad that these kids were resorting to this at such a young age. I never got my phone or wallet back, and I clearly canceled all my cards and had to replace my ID and phone immediately. A small price to pay for still having my life, I guess. I did end up calling the police in that town about a month later to kind of get an update, but they didn't find anyone at the rest stop, and nobody else ever reported being jumped by kids in that area. He did tell me that they arrested a 16-year-old boy for robbery who did match a description of the one I described, but because he was a minor, he got released later on, and that was pretty much all the information he could give me. They did locate my phone in a trash can about 10 miles from the rest area, and the screen was smashed even though the phone still seemed to technically work. So yeah, that's my nightmare story about being jumped by 4 teenagers. I'd love to know what you would do in that situation. Would you fight back? Or would you just accept defeat, like I did? Defeat. I'm drooling. Alright. An atheist. What about a B-theist? Or a C-theist? Or a D-theist? Or an E-theist? An electronic theist? Alright, friends, I am going to read the outro. You guys gotta think of something funny for me to say. Per deep theist. Six pack of whoop ass. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. EST. And there are super live streams. She Joel on my Let's Till I Read. Oh my god. You're gonna get beat up for that one. And super fun live streams on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday nights. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, be sure to send a bomb to my P.O. Box address, one with shit and glitter. No, I'm just kidding. That's just kidding. Alright. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast where you can hear all of these stories and big compilations and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. What should we say? Thanks so much, friends. And remember, December. It's December. It did become fucking winter out of nowhere. Today it was like so cold and there was snow. But like kind of like the dry snow, which is actually really pretty. There's like sometimes where it's like the sun's coming out a little bit, but it's still kind of overcast and it's still kind of flurrying. And there's a little bit of flurry on the ground. There's something about that specific type of weather that I enjoy. It feels peaceful. But yeah, we did have some snow.
Not a fan. Not a fan.
Or do you don't get snow? And remember, auf Wiedersehen. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, auf Wiedersehen. Don't forget to collect your moldy pocket kisses. I guess I could say that too. Actually, go get a Sprite cranberry. Alright, friends, thanks for being here. Some good content released today. We got a new podcast out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. New bonus content is out as well. It's a really cool sci-fi-esque story told in the second person, so it's a little bit different there. Almost like you're in your own little first-person shooter. And then that is out for members. For anybody who became a member tonight, thank you, and thank you for your support and donations as well. Be sure to go check out that bonus content playlist to check out the new stuff and the 25 other videos, as well as over on Patreon and the $5 tier there. Anybody who supports over there, and then I will go ahead and get this audio up and edited over on Patreon. It's only $1 a month over there for early access. If you want to get a hold of that before anybody else's ears, you can have it. But otherwise, I will have this up today on YouTube at 7 p.m. EST, same time, same place. So I appreciate you guys, and I'll be back streaming on Thursday, probably some Reddit stories or something. But love you guys, appreciate you. Thanks for being awesome. Always a pleasure. And go follow me on Twitter at Let's Read or Instagram at Let's Read Official. Be kept up to date when I go live. And I will see you guys all again soon. All right. Bye-bye.